Welcome back to the Build the Man podcast, where men come to strengthen their minds, build real bodies, and live a life of mission and purpose. Inside Build the Man, everything sits on three pillars. It sits on your drive, so basically your mindset, your standards, your clarity, your discipline. These are all things that make up your drive. It sits on your body, so how jacked you are, your muscle, your strength, your physical leadership. And it sits on your presence, so basically your mission, your purpose as a father, as a partner, and as a man. Those three things: mind, muscle, and mission. So if you're new here, episodes are now going to be running weekly. Sometimes it's going to be myself, Jordan. Sometimes it's going to be Nate. He is the man that leads the mindset and motivation inside Build the Man. And sometimes we're actually going to bring men from our world on this podcast who are actually living the life of a built man. So listen, if you value self-leadership, if you want a better body, if you want a sharper mind, and if you want stronger relationships, stronger presence at home with the people that matter the most, you, my friend, are in the right place. So let's get into it. There's a belief that most men carry without even questioning it. And it's the belief of, I'll start when I feel ready. Now, most men, right, don't just say this out loud. Most men don't go like, oh yeah, I'm just not ready. You'll hear a lot of men say, I'm just not motivated. I just have a real lack of motivation at the minute. But this lack of motivation and this lack of urgency to do something, it actually shows up in every area of your life. Think about this, right? Have you ever said, I'll get back to training when work settles down? Or I'll tighten up my nutrition after this busy period? Or I'll get back on top of myself when things just feel a little bit calmer, I've got a lot going on at the minute. Or the classic that we all know very, very well is I'll start next Monday. Now, all of these things, these aren't things of laziness. What it actually is hesitation that's just dressed up as logic. This is what men will try to tell themselves. I don't have any clarity on actually what I need to do. So what I will just say instead is work's just really, really busy. What it actually says is I have no systems, I have no structure that I actually need to follow through with to get me the desired result that I want. But instead, I'm just going to dress this hesitation that I have up as logic. So again, work's too busy. I'll tighten up my nutrition just after this busy period. Actually shows that you don't have a system put in place to work with you to meet whatever goals that you have for yourself when it comes down to your nutrition. And here's the real issue. Every time a man delays action, what he actually does is he gives his emotional state more authority than his standards. And this is the beginning of decline. Now, I want to show you men what this looks like in real life. Not in theory, but in actual day-to-day reality of some men. Let me give you a couple examples, all right? A dad wakes up tired. He decides that he'll probably, train later. But by the evening, he's drained and he's frustrated at himself again because he didn't just get up and move his body. Or a man sees his midsection growing. He sees his gut growing. But he convinces himself that, yeah, do you know what? This is just a phase. And then he waits until it hits a number that actually finally scares the shit out of him. And he goes, whoa, when did this happen? And then again, the hesitation that's dressed up as logic goes, it's my slow metabolism, man. That's what it is. I got slow metabolism. You know, we've all heard this saying before. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this before. Yeah, it'll catch up with you. As you get older, Jordan, you'll lose your physique. Yeah, it'll happen. You'll start putting on a gut like me. I haven't, and I won't, because I know who and how and when I need to show up. Or you'll get another guy that promises himself that again he'll start again on Monday. But that promise has been probably made every Sunday for 8 straight months, or maybe 8 straight years, or maybe it's 18 straight years. Maybe it's a guy that snaps at his kids, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because that he knows that he's not living in alignment with what he actually expects from himself. And that's what's actually frustrating him. You know, he convinces himself that he's busy, but deep down he knows that time is just not the problem. It's a self-leadership problem. He's scrolling through his phone too much. He's sitting down every single night and just chucking on the TV. And then he's telling himself that he's got no time. Now all of these examples that I've given you guys here, this is what waiting for motivation looks like. It's not failure, but it is just a very slow erosion. It's not a complete collapse, but it's a very quiet decline. And it's little moments like this where a man sees his gut growing, but he convincing himself that it's just a phase. Or the quiet line of, you know, I'll just start on Monday. Yeah, it's been a fucking rough week. I'll start on Monday. It's little moments like that where a man steps away from himself without even realizing it. Now, most men think that staying stuck is neutral. That, you know, nothing's really changing, I'm fine. But there's a saying that goes, doing nothing is doing something. There are consequences, and they are direct ones. Maybe they're not that loud. Maybe it's not in a massive sudden collapse or a massive sudden breakdown. But it's in the quiet moments where you might catch yourself in the mirror and go, Jesus Christ, man. Come on, step it up a little bit. Or you look in the mirror and you actually go, you just avoid looking in it completely. Actually, that's a great place to start. Or you look in the wardrobe and go, yeah, definitely can't wear that. Maybe you lower your standards without even noticing it. I'll use the t-shirt example again. You open the wardrobe, yeah, I can't wear that. You've just lowered your standards without even noticing it. Yeah, just whack a jumper on. I'm just going to throw a jumper on. Maybe you used to train in the gym 4 times a week and you used to feel mint. But now you're proud if you only just manage 2 sessions a week. And you give yourself a little bit of pat on the back. Well done, I made 2 gym sessions this week. And then it probably will become 1. And then it becomes, oh yeah, I've had a really busy week again. I'll go again next week. And then that bleeds into how you show up at home as well. You've got less patience. You've got a shit ton more frustration because you're not following through on what you said that you wanted to do. You've got less presence. You've got more checking out, scrolling through your phone, finding yourself that you're actually really unhappy and you're digging yourself a deep hole because your Instagram and social media is dressed up to be a place where everyone looks like they're absolutely winning. And you're sat there not being able to wear the clothes that you want to wear, feeling ashamed of yourself when you look in the mirror, knowing that you could be doing better, but saying that you're way too busy for it. And then all of a sudden, life just starts happening to you. You don't have control of the steering wheel anymore, and you are responding to everything in a way that deep down, you know that you're not proud of. Now, a man that avoids what he should do teaches the next generation to do the exact same thing. If you are not holding any solid standards for yourself, you cannot get frustrated at your kids if they are doing the exact same. How many times, countless times I've heard this, where I've had conversations with men and they go, yeah, my teenagers are just lazy. Well, guess what? They're lazy for a reason. They are lazy for a reason. They've learnt it off someone, and it's not me. It's what's going on at home. Set some clear standards for yourself. You can't shout at your kids for being on the phone too much or being on the tablets too much. If you give them the phone, if you give them the tablet, and they see the exact same thing as you, numbing yourself, scrolling through social media, watching pointless stuff on TV, that are all distractions, distracting you from the man that you want to become, from the body that you want to have, from the money that you want to make in your business. A man who avoids what he knows he should do teaches the next generation to do the same. I cannot stress that enough. This isn't about working out 7 times a week, men. This is about a man, plural, men, losing grip on themselves without anyone ever calling it out. Now, I want to give you a little bit of guidance here on how men are actually going to break out of this cycle. Again, most men try to just feel better before actually taking action. I just wait around for motivation like it's something that's just randomly going to come out of nowhere. You're just going to wake up one morning after you've had a night of watching Netflix, scrolling through your phone, eating shit. You're just going to open your eyes and magically feel motivated. Magically have clarity on everything that you need to do. And most men try to wait for that to happen. They wait to that magic morning where they open their eyes and they feel mint. Oh, mint. I just magically feel motivated today. But that is so backwards. The shift is so simple. Act before you feel ready. Let me say that again. Act before you feel ready. Because it's the action that actually creates readiness. It's not the other way around. So here's how a man moves from emotion to self-leadership. Replace questions about feelings with questions about requirements. I'll give you an example. I'll paint this picture so clear for you. Stop asking yourself, do I feel like training today? Do I feel motivated today? Do I have the energy today? And start asking yourself one very simple question. What needs to be done today? I'm just going to repeat that again. Don't ask yourself, do I feel like training today? Do I feel motivated today? Do I have the energy to do what I need to do? And just start asking yourself one simple question. What needs to be done today? In fact, better, ask it the night before. What needs to be done tomorrow? How do I need to show up tomorrow? Men who ask better questions live a better quality life. Honestly, this is one saying that I've carried with me for so long right now. The better quality of my question, depending on who I'm going to for the answer, I will get a better quality answer. If I implement what that better quality answer is, I will live a better quality life. So the question isn't, how do I become more motivated? That's not what the question is at all. The question should be, what systems can I implement in my life as a busy dad or a busy man that's running a business that is juggling his health, that is juggling his business, that is juggling his family? What systems can I implement around my mindset, around my nutrition, around my training that's actually going to allow me to drop body fat, build muscle, maybe double my strength in the gym, and continuously show up as the man that I need to be? You see how that's a little bit more of a better quality question than how do I get motivated? Most men think they need a perfect plan, by the way. They think they need an absolute flawless routine, a massive motivation build-up. And the answer, again, is very simple. You need one action today. Have a think about this. What action can I take today that's going to break this cycle? That's going to change my state a little bit? Is it a lifting session for 30 minutes? Is it a 10-minute walk? 20-minute walk? Can I put on a podcast? Maybe you're listening to this one right now. What can I do to help me shift the state that I'm in? Maybe I can eat a meal tonight that actually aligns with the man that I want to be instead of just eating shit. Make a decision that actually cuts off the old pattern. Leadership is simple. Self-leadership is actually so simple. It's not easy, but it's actually really, really simple. And you're going to build more momentum, I'm going to use instead of the word motivation, through a shift in identity. Now, when it comes down to talking about identity, this is where a lot of men will just switch off completely. But this is why a lot of men are staying stuck in the exact same position. Identity doesn't change because you want it to. It changes because you stack actions that prove the old version of you is no longer in charge. I'm going to give you a quick example because this is a conversation that I've actually had this week. We all know someone that's got into pretty good shape before, right? That's dropped body fat before. Maybe you've seen a progress picture. Wow, like this person looks absolutely mint. But then, maybe 12 months down the line, they're fucking back at square one, or maybe even worse. And it's because they didn't get a shift in identity. They showed themselves that they can probably show up and stick to a nutrition plan for 12 weeks, or, stick to a training routine for 12 weeks, felt better for it. But they weren't aware of the identity shifts that they needed to make in order to live this long term. So when you see someone like myself who is jacked in his body, who is showing up for his business, and that is the most present dad around, I believe, and I feel like every dad should be able to hold the head high and be like, yes, I am that dad. And if you're not, there's definitely work that needs to be done. And that's not coming from a horrible place. That's coming from a place of love. Like, I want to see you be able to be like, yeah, holy shit, I am the best dad around. Like, I want that for you. Don't let that trigger you. See it as it coming from a place of love. Like, Dad, I want to see you win. That's what I want to see from all of the men that I work with, from all of the guys that are listening to this podcast. And the reason why I've been able to have this level of success in my health, in my body, in my business, with the guys that I work with my family, is not because I feel motivated. It's because I'm very clear on who I am as a person and what standards I need to live to in order to create this life long term. Identity doesn't change because you just want it to. It changes because you stack actions that prove that the old version of you is no longer in charge. If you get consistent with lifting in the gym, you're now the guy that went from I'm not motivated to train to I'm now the guy who trains. Even when you show up when you're not motivated, it's like I'm just the guy who shows up and trains. If you control the food that you put in your mouth, it's like, you go from the guy that went, I'm not that motivated and, I'm just a bit busy, so I've just been grabbing my foods here, there and everywhere, to the guy that now actually has standards because he's present, he's aware of what he's actually putting into his body. If you stop hitting the snooze button, you're now the man that gets up when he says that he will. Now, I've just had a really hard week at work, so I've just been having like a couple of lions. Identity grows from the inside out, from the actions that you also take. Every man has a point in the day where he tries to talk himself out of doing what he said he would do. Every man has that. Now, the difference between the men that move forward and the men that stay stuck is the fact that the men that are recognizing that that moment has come and they just move through it. Not because they want to, not because it's easy, but because the version of themselves they're building actually requires them to move through it. If not, they stay stuck, and that is the difference. Most men are not unmotivated. I had this conversation actually earlier on in the week as well. This guy came up to me and was telling me how he was struggling in the gym. I was like, all right, cool, man. Well, where is it that you're wanting to go? He told me what he wanted to achieve. Obviously, he wants to lose body fat. He wants to get jacked. He wants to gain muscle. Oh, nice, man. Okay, what is it that you've tried before? Oh, well, I've had like personal training sessions before. And I invested like all of this money into a personal trainer. Obviously, it was my time as well. All right, cool, man. And why do you believe you didn't get the result you wanted? Oh, well, I kind of was doing, but then it was just a total lack of motivation. Okay, cool. And if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been trying to get this result for? Oh, like probably around like 5. I think it was 5 years. He said something like that. 5. It was either 5 or 8 years. Okay, well, what that actually shows me is holy shit, you are very motivated. Might not feel like it, but you've been showing up for the past 5 to 8 years and you still haven't got the result that you wanted. Which tells me, holy shit, you've been turning it up. Maybe a couple of weeks haven't been consistent. Maybe there's been a couple of weeks where you haven't been as disciplined as what you would like to be. But you've been trying to show up for 5 to 8 years to get a result, and you still haven't got it. And you are still having this conversation about getting this result. You're not unmotivated. You just don't have a system. You just don't have clarity. You don't have accountability. You don't have the support. And you don't have someone leading you. Most men are simply under-led. And they're under-led by themselves. And the moment that you stop waiting for the right feeling to do something, and you actually start this journey of self-leadership, or you start getting the answers to the questions that you have that is going to give you clarity in order for you to get the result that you want, everything changes. Your body changes, your discipline changes, your mood changes, your confidence, your presence as a father, your identity as a man. All of this shifts. So listen, men, before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with something very, very important. A man isn't transformed through motivation. He's built through structure, he's built through standards, and he's built through on following through on what he said that he wanted to do. If you do not have the answers to your questions in order for you to get the result that you need, if you do not have clarity on that, find someone that has those answers and go all in to get the result that you want. If you want support when it comes down to getting absolutely jacked in your body, to get clear on your drive, and to get even more present with the people that mean the most to you, this is what we build inside Build the Man. This is real support. This is real clarity. This is real accountability. We are men pulling each other to a higher standard. Now, we're in the middle of creating a brand new program called Jack Dad 90. We've been working on this for some time now, and we're excited for it. This isn't full one-to-one coaching, by the way. This is everything that we take our men through inside Build the Man. The training, the nutrition, the structure, the mindset. the daily expectations, but it's actually handed to you directly for a fraction of the investment. It's 90 days to get you sharper in your mind, to get you stronger in your body, to help you drop body fat, and to get you clearer on your mission. So if you've wanted to work with us in the past, but again, maybe you haven't felt ready for the full Build the Man process, this is your entry point. So keep your eyes open because it's coming very soon. But until then, men, I want you to lead yourself. I want you to set the standard. And I want you to build the man that you need, that your family needs, and that your friends need. Be the man that can pull people to that higher standard. I'll see you next week.